What's up, crew? You're listening to episode 18. I have already recorded the episode, so let me tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to be reading to you an essay I wrote last semester, and I love it. Some people will strongly disagree with what I have to say, and it gets better and better throughout the essay. It gets a little bit more controversial, so stick around and listen. Essentially, it's based off of Rebecca Kempe's article, Beauty of My Existence. And in her article, she discusses how in grade 11, her raw and vulnerable poem was transformed into a performative token of allyship for her predominantly white school, serving as a comment for the struggles that Black artists/creators go through. That's pretty much all you need to know. If you want to read the article yourself, I'll attach it in the bio. And if you want to read my essay along, or you just want to read it on your own time, that will also be attached in the bio. I hope you enjoy.
What's up, crew?
Well, in my opinion, boy with the hell, boy, you need to ask yourself, why aren't you? Kind of controversial, but I don't think we should. I just broke down crying. You're listening to Free to Grow with Jerome Umbaga. New episode every Tuesday. The Endangered Future of Black Artists, Beauty of My Existence. An essay written by Jerome Umbaga. Does your art truly exist if no one can correctly interpret it? Rebecca Kempe, a common member of humanity, author, and coincidentally a Black woman, is asked this question when her throwaway prose poem fosters her predominantly white audience the incorrect impression that she aspires to represent and take up space on behalf of the Black community as a whole. Before analyzing Rebecca Kempe's article, it is important to define and comprehend the importance of art. Throughout any era, location, or condition, humankind has never ceased to create art, revealing itself through language and writing, music and dancing, or everyday hobbies and religion. Art has always survived. This law holds true because art is simply the expression of human identity. Lack of art is the absence of identity. Utilized as a powerful tool, art has consistently proved itself as the best means of pure happiness, personal growth, or connecting with dissimilar individuals and groups. It is an understatement to say that society cannot survive without art. Beauty of My Existence exposes how the incompatible relationship between authentic artistic expression and ubiquitous racial fetishization cultivates an environment suited for performative racism. This connection forces picked individuals within the Black community to bear the burden of representation, leading to the suppression of the unique personal identity. Kempe chronicles her experience to deliver a clear message to non-Black liberal racists. The show-ponying of woke anti-racist sentiments and actions, policing of what Black even means, and celebration of trauma but closed ears to everyday dialogue inhibits Black artists' ability to pursue in the introspective work of self-definition and simply exist. It is through the absence of this external interference that a beautiful environment flourishes, one in which an artist can hope to be looking at a crowd and having to own their words and receive evidence that an audience might care. The most straightforward way to enact this change would be to promote Black representation in leadership within the artistic community, not solely the victim artists. Proof of white-dominated leadership manifests through Rebecca's comments, such as, despite not being Black, she was one of the mostly white organizers. Or, the teacher supervisor, also white. In fact, one of the few teachers who was actually Black had left due to major disagreements with the rest of the team over Black History Month. Non-logical situations, like white teachers disagreeing with a Black teacher over a Black History Month celebration, affirm the patronizing notion that liberal racists harbor. White people know how to manage and define Black culture better than Black people. This directly violates the comfort and safety of Black creators by stripping them of the security that the people in charge of their creative process, human resources, and career opportunities have their best interest in mind. For instance, a Black leader likely would have been able to recognize that there were not any groundbreaking thoughts that were so special that Rebecca needed to perform them, even though she was sick of the poem. Instead of teachers focusing on the safety of their students, they inadvertently chose to showcase beauty, as proof of diversity, advocacy, and incorrectly defined Blackness within their school. The result is Black artists attempting to conceal their identity by feeling lucky to have a last name that doesn't sound Black, because it might afford them more attention and protection if their leaders or audience do not discover their race. In addition, performative allyship often accompanies weaponized appreciation. As a result, the art community constructs a double bind, where Black creators are praised for their trauma but disregarded for their normal life stories, as if the realm of general human experience belongs mostly to the people who aren't marginalized. This constrained dialogue inevitably suffocates the innate human desire for artistic freedom. In order to revert this, non-Black individuals need to focus on listening to their peers in time of distress and normalcy, an experience white creators are automatically afforded. Psychological divides between Black folk within social circles, countries, and around the world stemming from varying populations accidentally forcing themselves into boxes of identity created by predominantly white populi can be observed without close examination. One faction can believe that being Black is embracing all the stereotypes that white perspectives impose, while a neighboring faction can believe that being Black is the complete and utter rejection of the same stereotypes. Although polar opposites, both factions define themselves in reference to white people, through the acceptance or negation of stereotypes, not as an independent race. Their art will be impure as a result from this twisted relation. Over 1 billion people, dispersed by slavery and immigration in some capacity, growing up in every corner of the globe, and each being their own unique person, cannot possibly be boxed into the label of Black beyond a physical context. It is by this truth that those who identify as African immigrants, and Black don't really know what being Black even means. By this truth, Black artists cannot possibly attempt to define their art on varying, disagreeable, and white contingent definitions of their race. By hyper-focusing the entirety of an artist's creative process and work on a genetically assigned piece of visible identity, the audience loses focus of the nuance and complex art the rest of the creator can display. Perfectly summarized by Kempe, I feel like my identity is more than just my race. However, this growth will only be made possible when predominantly white leaders stop sorting visible identities into a box, only getting taken out and displayed when it's convenient for other people. To properly understand the gravity of the current state of affairs, one must zoom out with their analytical lens. With the rapid increase of political polarization, the global wealth gap, and AI-generated fake news, Black artists and the population as a whole are susceptible to racism-fueled hatred more than ever. With such an enormous populace trying to fight for equality, mixed messages, goals, and actions are often displayed. BLM protests ranged from extremely legal and peaceful advocacy to rampaging and looting in the name of civil disobedience. As a result, liberal racists, hatred-fueled racists, and psychologically divided Black groups fail to make substantial progress forward. Rather, society descends into a perpetual loop of incorrect categorization and ignorance, to bias and misinformation, ending in racism and hatred. In order to stop this cycle, for the sake of the Black artists and overall community, art must be used to bridge together contrasting groups, replacing confusion for identity, hate for understanding, and silence for dialogue. A fearlessly vulnerable pursuit for Black identity. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed.